Hello, it's Friday, February 2nd, and this is my 2 cents. We had the State of the Union address Tuesday night, and once again, Democratic lawmakers showed us just how immature and foolish they can really be. Now, we have fools on both sides of the aisle, obviously, but the Democrats have so many more. It's mind-boggling, and they follow their leader like sheep. Okay, uh, Trump gave a pretty good speech. I'm a Republican, so I pretty much agreed with everything he said. Uh, but even some of the things that are generally Democratic sounding points, like they want the DACA people legitimized in some way. Immigration reform, Trump has offered 1.8 million of them to be legalized after 10, 12 years, meeting certain standards and so forth, which is over twice as many as anybody's ever offered them before. And they don't even cheer that. They don't clap their hands. They sit on their hands. And of course, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, they're looking back to make sure nobody breaks ranks. By God, nobody. Don't cheer because we're not doing that. The infrastructure, something else that for the most part is more of a Democrat thing than a Republican. Infrastructure. Trump wants to pump $1.5 trillion into infrastructure around the United States, fix our bridges and so forth. They can't even cheer for that. I mean, they can't clap their hands and approval of that. The tax cuts, people get more money in their pockets. They definitely aren't going to cheer for that. I don't get it. Really the worst one, as far as I was concerned, was when Trump was telling the story of the MS-13 gang that murdered a young black woman, 16-year-old, two 16-year-old black women, and they had their parents there in the gallery, and he recognized the parents and expressed the need to, these people shouldn't have been in the country. These illegal aliens that were in MS-13, they were gang members, and they brutally murdered these two girls. Shouldn't have been in the country. Now, you don't have to agree with Trump on the immigration. You don't have to agree with a lot of the things he says. But can we agree that these people suffered a tremendous loss that they should have never had suffered? These gangsters, I don't have the words for how I feel about these Neanderthals that just brutally murdered these two women. They shouldn't have even been in the country. They're illegal. Crossed the border illegally, and the Democrats can't even find the courage to recognize these people. Come on. Where's your humanity? I don't get it. They don't. The national anthem. Trump was talking about standing for the national anthem and putting your hand over your heart and the flag and in God we trust. All these things. The Democrats would. Are they Americans? I don't get it. They just sit there. I mean, did they cease to become United States citizens? Are they? What happened? I mean, do they consider themselves no longer a part of this country? Is that what it is? Is that what it's come to now? I've had it. I've had it with this anti. Anytime you want to be a patriot in this country, you're looked down upon by these people. I don't get it. These people are ruining this country. You don't have to agree on everything. There's compromise that can be made, but we used to be able to agree on the fact that we all loved America. I don't think Democrats love America. Seems to me that they love illegal aliens more than they love Americans. Certainly, they represent the illegal aliens more than they represent Americans. They shut down the government because they wanted to represent illegal aliens more than they represent Americans. Luis Gutierrez, out of Chicago, congressman, walked out on the speech as the crowd was chanting USA, USA, USA. Are you freaking kidding me? What is that about? I can't even fathom that. Thank God he's not running anymore. What a clown! I have no respect for anybody that acts in that manner. How this country has afforded people the opportunities they can't have in any other country. You know, this is the greatest country in the world, and these people are just slapping it right in the face. They're slapping all of any patriotic American is looked upon as some sort of, you know, ridiculous human being. I don't get it. So anyway, Trump's speech, you know, outstanding speech, outstanding view of America. The country's on the right track. I can't argue with a thing. And to be quite honest with you, the Democrats can't either, and that's what pisses them off. They know that their small reign is over. They know their policies have been debunked, and they've been shown that the Republican way, economically, the Republican way works. And for 8 years, we floundered. Now, I'll give Obama some credit. He pulled us out of the recession. But once we were out of the recession, he just had a stranglehold on letting the economy explode. He wouldn't let it do it. He wouldn't let the growth happen. Once Trump unleashed the economy, once he unleashed the Americans, businessman, to be free to do what he wants to do by eliminating all these burdensome, job-killing, growth-killing regulations, and now the tax cut. I mean, they're talking about 5% GDP in the first quarter of this year. Come on, man. We can grow our way into prosperity if you let the American businesses and the American industry do it. But anyway, great speech. Now, the other thing that happened this week is we finally got the memo released. It's been released. And it's pretty much what we've been talking about for the last, however long. I spoke about it in the last few weeks. It's pretty damning. It shows that the FBI, the higher levels of the FBI, in the very least, were duped politically, and there's at least a few that broke the law and did so willingly, did so with malice. They knew what they were doing. Now, I'm not, all the names that come out in this memo, there was Rod Rosen, just like we said, Rod Rosenstein, Peter Strzok, Jim Comey, Andrew McCabe, these guys, I think they're all involved. Whether or not it's a great big, let's get together and figure out how we can screw Trump conspiracy, I don't know. What I do know is they did not want Donald Trump to win the election. That's obvious. And according to this memo, when they went to the FISA court, they did spy on the Trump, and that is without doubt now. They spied on the Trump campaign through Carter Page. They went to a FISA court with a dossier that they knew was fake, that they knew was unverified, that they knew was salacious. They went to the FISA court with this dossier and presented it to a judge as fact, said it was an FBI agent raised his right hand and swore that it was a legitimate document, and that this was, that Carter Page was a foreign agent, or they were investigating him to be a foreign agent. And they got the warrant to spy on Carter Page and, in effect, the rest of the Trump campaign. They did so without informing the FISA judge that this dossier was paid for by the Clinton campaign and the DNC, and through Perkins Cole law firm. Interesting thing about Perkins Cole law firm is Obama also has dealings with them, and we'll talk about that in future episodes when we get back to the email scandal, the Hillary Clinton email scandal. But they paid Christopher Steele, who's also in the memo, as he wrote the dossier, or it's come to light that it's quite possible that he got the dossier from a guy named Cody Shearer, who fed him the information. Now, who's Cody Shearer? Cody Shearer is a Hillary Clinton political hitman, so to speak. He's been with the Clintons for years, 30 years. He's one of those guys, and Dick Morris outlined it in one of his videos on YouTube. He was with the Clintons, and this Cody Shearer is a political operative that goes and finds dirt or invents dirt on political opponents. Now, he's a well-known guy now, so the speculation is that Cody Shearer had the dossier, which has been verified. He had a second dossier, they're calling it now, but actually it was probably the first. This dossier he fed to Christopher Steele, who then fed it to the FBI. Now, the FBI took it to the FISA court. Now, the FISA court, to corroborate this thing, the FBI told the FISA court that they also had media reports that some of the things in the dossier was corroborated through media reports. Well, the media reports were leaked to this media outlet, and who leaked it to the media outlet? Christopher Steele and Fusion GPS. So, in a nutshell, Fusion GPS, Christopher Steele, leaked information to this outlet and the dossier to the FBI. The FBI used the dossier in the FISA court and then said that that it was corroborated by media reporting that was given to them by Christopher Steele. They didn't tell the judge that part. Paid $160,000 for this dossier. The Fusion GPS paid Christopher Steele for it. This whole thing, Perkins Cole paid Fusion GPS, I should say, $160,000 for this thing. The FBI was going to pay Christopher Steele for the money for it, and when he started leaking additional information to other media outlets, the FBI realized that they were going to be found out, and they had to fire him. So, as a informant. So when they fired him, and this was 9 days after they got their FISA warrant, October 21st, they got their FISA warrant of 2016. 9 days later, they fired Christopher Steele as a compromised asset. Okay. Now, so what did they do? They still needed to get information from Christopher Steele. What they did was, it was a back door through the Justice Department, and a guy named Bruce Orr and his wife, who they hired, I can't remember her name, Nellie Orr. She was hired by Fusion GPS to help work on the dossier. Her husband, Bruce Orr, is in the Justice Department, with an office a few doors down from Rod Rosenstein. So they were still funneling. They were funneling information to the FBI through Christopher Steele, phony information, and they renewed this FISA warrant has to be renewed every 90 days, and it was renewed every 90 days. Now each time this thing is renewed, it has to be signed off on. Well, it was signed off on by McCabe, or first of all, signed off by Comey. Then when he got fired, a guy named Andrew McCabe, and I think he's one of the big ones, Andrew McCabe, whose wife was running as a Democratic candidate, in Virginia for state senate, and was funded by a Hillary Clinton-backed PAC through Terry McAuliffe, the governor of Virginia. So $700,000 for a state office, state senate. So McCabe has a vested interest in seeing that Hillary Clinton gets exonerated, and then when he did that, $700,000 is why one of the reasons why he could be implicated in some serious wrongdoing. I think if anybody goes to jail, I think it's going to be Andrew McCabe. But anyway, so this is all a group of people that A, did not want Trump to win the election, and B, after he won the election, needed Trump to be muddied up as bad as possible so that they could attempt an impeachment. If you remember right, the day after he was elected, Democrats started screaming they were going to impeach Trump. The day after. So anyway, these names that came out, Rod Rosenstein, Andrew McCabe, Sally Yates, they're all in this dossier, or this memo from Devin Nunes. This is all factual information, undisputed. Now, one of the things that definitely bothers me about the politicization of the FBI, one of the things that really bothers me is how easily they were able to do all this with very little oversight. This is ridiculous. They could do this to anybody, and God knows how long it's been going on. It could go back into the Bush administration. Who knows? But they were able to basically frame Donald Trump with a fake with a fake dossier through the FISA courts. They were able to dupe a FISA judge into letting them have a warrant. They were able to, and I think probably dupe some other FBI guys. In fact, I don't think everybody's in on it. I think there's just a core group of people that are in on it, and they were able to dupe the people around them and into thinking that this stuff was all legit. And then they've got Democratic Congress people that think it's all legit because they're being duped also. James Comey took this dossier to Donald Trump shortly after he was inaugurated. And I said this a couple months ago in one of my videos. It was basically a warning. He was warning Trump, this is what we have. And we're, basically blackmail. Trump wasn't playing. He wasn't going to play that game. And that's when Comey started going out, writing his memos, about his meeting with Trump. He had it in his head he was going to either get Trump to do something illegal or be able to pretend he did something illegal. This is all dirty pool, and we need a special prosecutor to investigate the whole thing. And we need to take politics completely out of this thing now, because there's nobody ever going to believe anybody. The Justice Department's never going to be believed on this thing. It doesn't matter who investigates, whether the Democrat, Republican, whatever. nobody's ever going to believe the result. We need a special prosecutor, and good luck finding somebody, and that might even be hard because they're all going to be claimed bias. It's a mess, and it's so deep and so well thought out as far as how they got their information through the FISA court and the documents. But there are documents, and somebody with expertise has to go in and just start looking. Now, the next thing that's going to drop is the IG report. Okay, and they're going to have to follow the money also. We're going to find out who paid who. And if they find out that Fusion GPS paid these media outlets to run that story to corroborate the dossier in front of the FISA judge, when they start looking at money and bank records from Fusion GPS, and they do have those bank records, if they find out that Fusion GPS paid these media folks, that's when it's really going to get bad. Because if the media is on the hook too, we have no oversight whatsoever. The media is supposed to be the people's oversight. Obviously, they're not. We need special counsel, and this thing all needs to be investigated. But the IG is investigating the email scandal, and so that's the next thing. That report comes out in March. When it comes out, this is a very small part of the overall investigation. This is all going to get real ugly, folks, and prepare yourself. Prepare yourself for lots of let's just say the bickering and politicking is never going to end. Not for, I'd say, for another year. Things are going to drop, and they're going to keep dropping. And as they go up the line, they're going to find more and more and more corruption. It all needs cleaned up. It's a swamp, and and it needs cleaned. And we have the right man in office for it. Once he can free himself from this hatchet job that they've done to Donald Trump, I think we're going to start seeing some real movement. Well, that's my 2 cents, and I'll see you next week.